I'd like to call first then, recognize obviously the first responders, and we have the fire department, we have the NYPD, EMS, and of course all our military, both veterans and so what I will ask then is if Assemblywoman March Markey can speak, and then we will have Captain Hennessy. Okay, so Assemblywoman March Markey.
Adrian. Yes, I do have to go. I'm very proud to have a district that always remembers, be it Memorial Day or on 9/11. Each one of my communities has some type of event and pay tribute to those who have lost their lives. From here, I'm going to Middle Village, where many victims from Cantor Fitzgerald gave their lives because they worked in the trade center. And of course in Woodside, we know so many firefighters gave of themselves in the line of duty. I'm very proud. Every year I try, and I pass legislation for those widows and families that lost their spouses during 9/11. It's one of the proudest moments of my time in the Assembly. But just a quick story, and I really like looking out and seeing all the faces. 9/11, as we know, is a very difficult time, and I went to many masses for people who lost their lives. And it was a very emotionally draining time, going to mass after mass. After 9/11, I will tell you I was emotionally drained. And I went to visit my aunt in Roanoke, Virginia. And we took the 10-hour ride down to Roanoke. And as we usually did, we took her out to dinner with some friends. And these were all displaced New Yorkers, most of them from the Melrose area. Started to talk to them about 9/11 and what we had gone through. And I'm telling you the truth. They stopped me and they said, "That didn't happen here. That happened up in New York. We're not interested." True story. I never went out to dinner with those people again. But it shows you how some people just disconnect from part of the American family. I will tell you, I have family members who were in the fire department and suffered breathing problems and are out on disability now. I have always supported the fire and the police and the EMS in my legislation, and I'm very proud to do that. I will now say to you, I really appreciate the work that Woodside on the Mood and Adrian has done to put this program together, but especially thanking you for remembering those who made the sacrifice. And all I can say is God bless you and God bless America.
Thank you, Assemblywoman Markey. So what you see tonight is a full effort from volunteers, residents, and community organizations that had formed the coalition called the DOUGHBOY PARKPATRIOTS. So we definitely want to thank everyone that was involved. You see ushers, you see community volunteers, the Monsignor, and the elected officials. So it's really, again, a full effort from the community to be able to honor the names not only of those on the plaque, but those who are taking part in the ongoing efforts to really protect our freedom. So I would like to invite the captain of the 1/8th Precinct, Captain Hennessy.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I'd just like to start off by thanking Adrian, Ed, and all of you that have really come together and put this great memorial together. It really is very important to us as a community and as a country that this goes on every year. 13 years ago, our country, our families, our communities were devastated by the attacks on 9/11. But with the devastation came strength and resolve, and it really brought us together as communities and families and as a country. And what it showed is that we're here to support each other. For those of us that mourn and have family members that have passed, and for those in the community that really do care about the community and the country we live in, we came together as one and showed the strength that we do have. So it is important every year that we do come out and we mourn, but we stay strong and come together as a community. So I thank you all for being here tonight, and every year that we do this, it is very important to us as a country that we do come here. So God bless all of you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Captain. Right now we don't have somebody who wants to speak on behalf of the fire department, but of course, please let's acknowledge engine, ladder, and rescue companies that are taking part in today's ceremony. So thank you. And you will hear the names of your brothers being read in a few minutes. So I would like to, of course, acknowledge the different agencies that help with this. Oh, thank you. Yes. Sure.
Very impromptu. It's an honor to have served in Woodside for many years as a firefighter. The turnout here is tremendous, that all you people would acknowledge and recognize those names on that plaque. Have a lot of meaning to some of us firefighters. We worked with some of them. The sense of community is tremendous. I hope that we can all continue to remember 9/11 like this, and let's never forget. Yeah, it's a very sorrowful day, but at the same time, we want to always acknowledge and remember the sacrifices that those made to protect us. And we as firefighters we try to keep the community safe, and we don't want anybody to be hurt. So we're always gonna, we're doing our best to be there for you. So, again, it's tremendous to see the outpouring of the community to turn out. Thank you.
So again, thanks to all the city agencies, parks department, sanitation, all different organizations that helped us with this event. I want to call, we're going to follow then the order that we have of Congressman Joseph Crowley to speak. And again, all these elected officials representing Woodside and Western Queens, different communities, I want to thank them for participating today.
Thanks, David, very much. And I thank you all to all those responsible for putting on this beautiful commemoration of the events that took place 13 years ago. I was just looking at the back, and then I looked at the panel on the side, the correlation of the names, and it's amazing the number of people that I knew on the list as well. I went to high school with Larry Virgilio, and Larry was a Woodside boy. We went to Powell Memorial together, and one thing about Larry Virgilio was that he could light up a room. We walked in, he was a really interesting guy too. He had a lot of different interests. He was a great friend of my cousin John Moran, who was killed in 9/11, as well as Kevin Dowdell, and I spoke at Kevin's funeral down the Rockaways, and I see Ray Downey on the list. My cousin John went down to the World Trade Center with Ray, and I see Brian Hickey. My cousin John was injured in the Father's Day fire just a few weeks before 9/11 with a bunch of the guys from Rescue 4. So in many respects, although they're from Woodside, my cousin was from Rockaway. I have a tremendous affinity for the folks here, as he did as well, and for the civilians that I had some connection to, Tommy Ashton and his family. Just going up and down the list, it's also remarkable the diversity of that list as well, as though my mind automatically is focused on the Irish names, but I also look and see, people from Asia and from all parts of the world. It's a reminder that the focus there was not of what ethnicity or religion or race you were, is that you were American and you were the target that day. Just a quick little note, a story, because things popped in my mind all throughout the day. I was watching the MSNBC reenactment of that Today Show. It's really incredibly startling and moving. Every year it doesn't change for me. But I thought about my cousin just for a moment, and because he had gone down to World Trade with Ray Downey, and we had had a flag and a memorial for him on Beach 118th Street. And when he got to 2 World Trade, he said to Ray Downey and to the driver, "Let me out here. I'm going to try and make a difference." And that's on the memorial that was washed away by Superstorm Sandy, and we're trying to put that back up. I think it's a wonderful message. Let me off here. I want to try and make a difference. We should all try to make a difference every day in the work that we're engaged in, because we all do make a difference, sometimes in small ways, sometimes in very, very big ways. So we thank all the first responders in particular, but all those who suffered and died that day, the horrific events of that day. Try to imagine if you were there yourself, what would you have done? I think of the people, the poor people who were stuck above the floors that were hit and the choices that they were left with. Some never really having a choice. They went down with the building itself. But the acts the heroic acts that we know of the firefighters and police officers. But also, I have to kind of think that people who were suffering at those moments were terrified and scared that one of their fellow human beings put their arm around them and said, "It's okay. It's okay. We're going to be okay," even though they may have known they weren't. Try to think in the personal way about it. I came in, literally just flew in from Washington, and you know that we're grappling with another form of barbarism within the Middle East, and trying to grapple with all the information that we're given and how to appropriately respond. America will continue to be challenged because of the freedom that we love, the respect that we have for human beings, not only here in the United States, but abroad. And it's a heavy burden, but one that's worth living for, one that's worth, on occasion, fighting for, and maybe even dying for. That's what makes America so special. I thank you all once again, this wonderful community of Woodside, Queens, because Woodside never, ever forgets. God bless you all.
Thank you, Congressman. Can I have State Senator Michael Gennaro speak, please?
Thank you, Adrian, and thank you to everyone from this community who comes out year after year to make sure that we don't forget the events that happened. We're now 13 years hence, which means we're rapidly approaching an entire generation of people who don't remember 9/11 because they weren't even born at the time. So our kids in elementary school right now have to be taught as if it's some historical event from the past. We, of course, remember it much more specifically than that, but it is events like this that ensure that the future generations will remember what their predecessors had to go through and the fight that endures. Congressman Crowley mentioned this is a fight that's not over. It wasn't over just because Osama bin Laden was killed a few years ago, as we can see by watching the news every night. And frankly, it didn't start on 9/11. This has been going on for decades. The first attempt at the World Trade Center was over 20 years ago. Some years are worse than others, and some are better than others. But it's an ongoing struggle that events like this ensure that we remember and keep our vigilance. Because just as the years pass from 9/11 itself, it does not mean we should get complacent. I assure you that those that are taking people's heads off in the Middle East would love nothing more than to come back to New York and do damage to all of us again. And so one of the ways we can make sure we're prepared for that is to work with the great men and women in law enforcement, Captain Hennessy and his team, and to also continually remind ourselves and teach those who weren't there at the time of what happened here and what can easily happen again if we don't continue to pay attention. I heard Mark Markey talk about some people in Virginia who didn't seem to care as much as we did at the time, and I was reminded of my own 9/11 story. It was election day, of course. It was a primary day for us, and if you'll remember, everything got shut down after the attacks. The bridges were closed. We were on lockdown here. I guess we were on Long Island, even though we're in Queens. And a friend of mine, who Congressman Crowley knows, Joe Morelli, is an assembly member from Rochester, happened to be at the airport and remembered that I lived close to LaGuardia. So he calls me and says, well, I have nowhere to go. Can I just come by your home? So of course I said yes. He shows up with two people from Virginia who were stranded. He had met at the airport. And they all spent the night at my home and then went about their way once the bridges were reopened. But I assure you, those two Virginians have a great memory of what happened here, and hopefully they will spread the word to others, because it is through commemorations, it is through remembrances that not only we ensure it doesn't happen again, but we pay appropriate tribute to those who we lost. So thank you all for being a part of this tonight.
Thank you, Senator Janaris.